You and I met a while ago.
Yep.
I don't know why we connected, but we did. I thought you had a great personality.
Oh, your cars. Because I loved your cars. I love the older Mercedes.
Oh, the G-Wagon.
The SUV.
Yeah, yeah.
And I love classic cars. So that.
Yeah, well, you have the really bitchin'
86 Vanagon.
86 Vanagon.
Yeah,
now,
which
that's a cool car.
Great car.
Yeah.
But your Mercedes stuck out, and I said, I got to meet this guy.
My wife made me sell it.
Yeah. Oh.
I got a newer one. I got a newer one. But happy wife, happy life, right? So this is. Well, she's sitting there, so I can't tell you this.
She said that's a lie.
She said it's a lie, and it could be a lie, but it's an easy blame. Larry Saavedra.
Yes.
Now we had this conversation just about 30 seconds ago. I asked you if your name was Greek.
Yeah.
You said it's Spanish.
Right.
And then I said, that's interesting because I'm Portuguese, half Portuguese, right? My father's Portuguese, so a paternal Portuguese side. And then you said...
Well, the Labrador was really brought to Nova Scotia by the Portuguese in the 1500s.
So the Labrador was brought to Nova Scotia.
To Nova Scotia, to Newfoundland. Okay. They're not Labrador. People think that that's where it got its name. But now, understand, this is something that I read from AKC.
Okay. That's got to be true.
It's got to be true.
Yeah. They would never.
They'd never say anything.
No,
that wasn't true. So
okay, in the 1500s, the Spaniards went to Newfoundland.
Explorers,
Nova Scotia,
early explorers.
Okay, which is near Canada.
Which is near Canada.
Right. Okay. So the Labrador was not developed in England.
No.
Okay.
No, the English actually brought the Labrador back to England. They went, to Nova Scotia, saw this great water dog, which is St. John's area of Nova Scotia, and they were called St. John's, and then the smaller Labradors were called the Lesser St. John's, and they brought them back to England, and then the English adopted the Labrador.
And that was in the 1500s?
And the Labrador was named Labrador. It was really, instead of a B, it was a V, and that's Spanish, their pronunciation of it. And that's where the name came from. It stuck.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. I read that and I thought it was interesting. But there's other people's opinion.
Yeah, I don't know. I believe it. I'm going with it.
It sounds right.
It sounds right. Look, from now
Portuguese.
on, if you're watching this, it's where the Labrador came.
So Portuguese.
Spaniards, the Portuguese done everything.
Yeah, they have done a lot.
So if you look up Cabral, Fernando Cabral discovered South America. So he was one of the first explorers to come over.
So maybe one of your cousins are the ones that...
It is. It's a great-great-grandfather. I'm responsible. I'm laying claim to the whole territory now. That's my... I'm sure of it. Mine. So you and I met a while ago.
Yep.
I don't know why we connected, but we did. I thought you had a great personality.
Oh, your cars. Because I loved your cars. I love the older Mercedes.
Oh, the G-Wagon.
The SUV.
Yeah, yeah.
And I love classic cars. So that.
Yeah, well, you have the really bitchin'
86 Vanagon.
86 Vanagon.
Yeah,
now,
which
that's a cool car.
Great car.
Yeah.
But your Mercedes stuck out, and I said, I got to meet this guy.
My wife made me sell it.
Yeah. Oh.
Ooh. I got a newer one. I got a newer one. But happy wife, happy life, right? So this is. Well, she's sitting there, so I can't tell you this.
She said that's a lie.
She said it's a lie, and it could be a lie, but it's an easy blame because I was, guys like old trucks, old cars, old jeans,
absolutely.
And your wife was like, "Why are you going to wear that?
Throw those things out."
Yeah, right. You're not wearing that when we go out. No, I was just trying it on, right? Like, I'm not going to wear this at all. I have no intention of wearing it. No, but she said, "Do we have to have 3 cars in front of the house?" And I said, "Well, you have 4, And so I had 3 and 1, and I thought, okay, that's fair."
Yeah,
but she was very nice about it. She's perfect.
But that's how we met.
Because of my car, thank God. Thank God I hadn't sold it. We would have never talked.
Yeah, we
would have never connected, and you wouldn't be here doing the show.
That's right.
But you're an AKC judge, and I think it's a really interesting thing being an AKC judge because now we got to clarify for hunting.
For hunt tests.
Hunt tests
only.
Right? Hunt
tests only. Not obedience, not confirmation, none of that.
But I want to talk about what goes through your mind? Because if I can get in your mind and I can help people get into that mind, 2 things are going to happen. One is people are going to enjoy the hunt test more. Yeah. Because it's kind of nerve-wracking, right?
Very nerve-wracking. Right. For the judges and the participants.
Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah.
I wouldn't think you would care. I think you'd like power play.
We do care.
No. If I was you, I would power play the whole thing.
easier said than done.
Yeah.
You want to be that, take charge person, but that you got to be friendly and you got to be sympathetic to their situation, because a lot of the people that come out, there's a great percentage of people that come out that this is their first hunt test, especially in what I judge, which is junior and senior, which is the entry level, and then the mid level before master, which is the highest stakes.
Yeah, so because there's 3 levels in it.
3 levels.
And to get to the next level, you actually need to compete in the first and second, but you need to do it 4 times, right?
Well, you need to do it 4 times. Like the first, yes, there's a set of rules. I can't think off the top of my head how many times, but it's multiple times.
4.
Yes,
for junior.
4, and then you could progress to senior. You can jump right into senior, but if you do that, then you have to pass it 5 times.
Oh, I didn't know that.
That's the caveat.
Should have done that. But that's got to be nerve-wracking to do. That's got to be stupid to do that.
Well, it's kind of silly because unless your dog's able to handle, which is through verbal or whistle commands, or, physical commands of some type, you're not going to pass.
No way. Yeah, I wouldn't think so. It's not an easy game, by the way. I've trained it. I got one. Did I get 1 ribbon on Duane? Yeah, I got one leg, right? Yeah. And it was nerve. And then you failed me.
I failed you.
Yeah, you did.
Yes.
That's the power
Welcome
play, right?
to the game.
But to me, it's like you've got to put yourself out there, right? To me, I've failed in obedience. I failed in protection. I mean, it's one of those things. People say, "Oh, this guy never failed." No, I fail all the time. I don't like fail. I hate it, right? But I don't. I think it's part of growth. Like when I did martial arts. So let's talk a little bit about how did you get? You've been doing it for a long time.
Yeah, 15 years judging.
15 years.
Yeah, judging. 20 years with dogs, training them with hunt tests. Okay. But my wife is really the party responsible.
Responsible for what?
A lot of it. Okay. A lot of it, and demanding that, well, not really demanding, just saying that if that's a bad word.
Bad word. Demanding.
Let me change that. Yeah. It's really
requesting.
Just requesting that if I want a dog and we want to have dogs, especially Labradors, so we're going to have to step it up. And we have to know and research as much as we can about the breed before we bring one home, because the last thing we want is a backyard dog.
Amen. I mean, that's a big piece. I want to talk about that because one of the things that frustrates me is people who get these, and a lot of dogs, whether it's a Malinois, German Shepherd, or Rottweiler, Doberman, or Labrador, Golden Retriever, any dog, they were bred for a purpose before they were bred for a look.
Right.
Right. The look, I think, is part of the purpose. But it's a functional aspect of it.
Correct.
But looking at the importance of a dog being bred for a job, to do something. I think now, and this is one of my beefs with AKC, and I'm not going to beef with the AKC because I know you're a judge of the AKC and I don't want to step on any toes, but I think it's so important, and I see it mostly in Labradors, that they'll actually have a working title and a confirmation title.
Right.
And that working title is a real title.
Absolutely.
Right. Let's talk about the importance of that for the longevity of the breed.
Well, the importance of it is it tells that, that pedigree, or that particular dog, its pedigree now has this title associated with it throughout its life, and it goes on from there. So any puppies that come out of that dog, there's stud dog or it's bitch, the puppies that come out of the dog, then those have also they can claim that title of master hunter,
right? Because they were a part of that genealogy.
Yes,
right?
it's extremely important, just as much as confirmation titles or obedience titles.
So your wife forced you into this?
She requested
you into
this. Yes,
this.
She requested that she's been really responsible. Her name's Janie. She's been responsible for the obedience end of it, which is ironically really probably 80 or 90%, in my opinion, it's only my opinion, of hunt tests. That usually when a person enters a hunt test is if they don't have a control of the dog, they're not going to move on to the next level.
Let's talk about it. I think you're absolutely right. Having been a part of this, and I love hunt tests. Yeah. Right. I've got my issues with it, like the bird, but I like. A lot of
people do.
They do, right? We'll touch on that in a minute. But I think these hunt tests are so cool. Like the things these dogs are doing and able to do, and the fun they have in the training. it's insane. Like I don't think obedience, running around a little 40 by 50 ring is close. I don't. I mean, I've put utility titles on my dog. I think this is a really fun thing. So why don't we talk about it for a minute? Like what are we looking at the dog to do? What are you looking for in the dog? Like this is the whole conversation, but I'm just like, let's talk about the little pieces. Like to get a junior hunter, that would be the first place to enter. What does a dog have to do?
Really, it just has to be somewhat under control, which usually doesn't happen at that level. It's usually out of control.
Totally crazy, right?
Totally out of its mind.
Right.
And so is the handler because they're so nervous. I recall when I got involved in it, my wife used to tell me, you got to calm down.
Yeah.
You got to calm down. I said, it was calm, wasn't I? She said, no, you were so out of your mind. And I said, really? So the whole object in junior is to be as obedient as humanly possible.
Okay. And what do you mean by that? Like what is the obedience?
Well, they can, unlike senior or master, they can physically restrain the dog on the line.
Okay.
And the line is where we basically let the dog, release the dog from to whatever it is we're trying to get the dog to do, which is in junior, it's to pick up a bumper or a bird. Mm-hmm. Okay, so that's your object of junior, is to retrieve. And it's not only the retrieve, we don't want to see pretty or real stylish or real energetic. We just want the dog to go out, pick it up, bring it back, deliver it to hand, deliver the bird to hand. Mm-hmm. And it seems real easy and on the surface. Yeah, as you know, it's really not, because junior dogs are typically young dogs, and they're typically, they want to do what they want to do. And, they know that you have limited or no control of them. Once you release them, they're going to do what they want. And a lot of times they'll swim circles. Literally, they'll swim in circles, especially if it's a hot day, just to avoid going out and getting the bird. So they'll just swim around. Oh, it's just swim around. It's nice and cool in the water, and they'll just swim around. Say, yeah, you're just great. And, you're out, but the dog doesn't care because, the dog's a young dog, and it's...
And there's no e-collar on.
And there's no e-collar. There's really nothing that you can do about it as a handler. You could just sit and watch.
Yeah. It's embarrassing.
It's very embarrassing, but it's a learning lesson. It's something that we all go through, and we all fail. Yeah. If we don't fail, we're not going to really go on to the next stage. Yeah. You have to fail because you're going to learn from your failures. Yeah.
And that's the lesson in life. I mean, really, people who are afraid to fail never grow.
I don't think so. I think they have to, because, you have to have your ego really checked down.
For sure.
And you really got to understand that, your dog's going to fail. Yeah. But you also, it's part of the game. Yeah. Is to fail. Yeah. And to pass, You got
to fail. Yeah, that's okay. Maya barks, so don't let that distract you. That's Maya barks. There's nobody breaking in yet. Well, the pizza guy's coming. I don't know if the pizza guy's here. Jan ordered you guys pizza, but I'm not sure if he's if the pizza guy's here yet. So you're 20 years ago. You're loving your dogs. You got labs.
Yeah, right? We were thinking about 20 years ago. We were thinking about getting these labs, and we did a lot of research into them. What do we want to do with them? Okay. Let's get out of the house. Why do we don't want backyard dogs. Right. I told you that.
Yeah. It's huge.
So the last thing we want is, when I grew up, it was okay to train, to chain your dog to a tree. Yeah, I know. Believe it or not.
No, I do.
It was totally acceptable. Yeah. But that's not acceptable.
It's horrible.
It's not acceptable. It's cruelty, and it's, so we didn't want to even go anywhere near that road. What we wanted to do is get involved with the dogs. And we found different ways of doing it, and hunt tests were one way of doing that. And it's just worked out.
What were you doing, like if you can talk about, like, for profession, when you got into the dog thing? Like, what was your job? Were you like a physically active job?
I was very, very physical, and I traveled a lot because I was an automotive journalist.
Oh, that's right. You told me that.
Yeah.
Okay,
so I worked in the publishing industry for 30 years, and I worked, in video production and in television production later on. Yeah. So I was already very active in things and very involved. And my wife, I have to say it again, we never seem to do, she's an artist, so we never do things part way.
Right.
You know, it's always this sink or swim. If we're going to do it, we're just going to jump in and do it. But before we jump in, we're going to learn a little bit about, you know, how deep that water is.
Right.
And do we really want to go down that road? But if we take the challenge on, then we have a tendency, because we have these inquisitive minds, is to pursue that in its fullest.
You didn't have a dog, right? So you said, we're going to get a dog. But
I had a dog when I was really young, and then later, but as an adult, no, I didn't. Didn't know anything about labs.
Okay.
Learned it along the way.
So you had a wife before a dog?
I had a wife before a dog.
Okay, I had a dog before a wife. Okay, and then she was really, now, lucky for me, I knew my wife before I had a dog. It's a long story. But isn't that like so important, like to have that connection with somebody, like where you have that, isn't that such a joy? I mean, you've been married how long? Quick, you don't look that way. Never look the other way. You always say like 15. It seems like it was only yesterday. You always do that. Okay.
20 years.
Okay. So you got married. You got the dog thing, and now did you both train the dog?
We did. But looking back, is my interest was a little more. I wanted to be. When we learned about the hunt test thing, it really got me piqued my interest. Mm-hmm. But Janie looking back, she really got more involved in the obedience side of things. She saw the hunt test, but she also saw that the need to obedience train.
Mm-hmm. And that's a huge piece.
Well, it is, because, you know, as you get further up the stakes, especially in senior and master level, that dog has to work with you as a team. Yeah. And that means the dog has to come to the line like a little soldier, and, you know, can't be sniffing the ground or looking around or peeing or whatever, or walking away or running away or anything. It has to be totally obedient.
Play with the other dogs.
And that's part of judges, you know, what we look at is obedience. It's a big part of it, trainability. Yeah. And
do you look a lot now, because I've had a lot of other people on who were in IPO, and then one of the judges in IPO said one of the things he's really looking for is the dog's willingness to work, like the happiness of the dog to work. Is that something that's coming through into the hunt test?
It's in style.
Oh, it's in style.
Yeah,
okay.
So we have these categories. So style, perseverance, trainability, and marking. Yep. Yeah, so we have these checklists that we go off, and we have a sheet in front of us in case we forget what it is. And we do, believe me.
Yeah, sure.
So we're watching, we're observing, and we observe, and we observe. 90% of the time we're observing. And style is one of the real critical areas that we look at. Not so much in the young dogs, because they do all sorts of weird things. Right. But in the senior and I'm sure, well, in the master level, the master judges are looking at style.
So let's talk about that style. Like, what does it mean to you, like, when you look for the style of a dog?
Yeah, and everyone's gonna have their own opinion on what it means. So if someone, you know, write him, don't write me. Right. You know, to me, it means how quick did the dog get to the mark? So the mark went down, how quick and how alert was the dog on the way there? Okay. Did the dog just look around, you know, oh, look at that, oh, there's someone over there. Or did the dog take off and really pursue it? Got it. And then you have perseverance, which go hand in hand with style. It goes hand in hand with style in a way, because
that's okay.
Oh, was that my phone?
No, maybe it wasn't. It doesn't matter. We can edit it out.
Okay. So style and perseverance are very similar in, you know, and so when we're looking at style, we're also looking at perseverance. So perseverance is real important too, because it's also saying, did the dog meet the challenge and go well beyond the obstacle? So if there's willows there, or there's reeds or something like that, did the dog bust through, or did the dog just go, ooh, I don't want to go over that. That's too much cover. I'm going to run around it. I'm going to skirt around it. Got it. So we're looking at that. That's an issue. Yep. It's just a minor little issue. It's not a fault. It's just a little issue that has to be worked on, because what you really want to see, like in good style, you want to see really solid perseverance with the dog.
How much of that, like the style thing and all that, is in the genetics of the dog compared to in the trainability of the dog, do you think?
Boy, I could get in big trouble for answering that. I would say that, you know, that it has to be in the DNA of the dog.
For sure, I agree.
I mean, there's certain dogs that just won't do it.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, I agree.
I'm not really into this, and neither was my parents, and
or
neither were
parents, right? Yeah, for sure.
They're just not into that. We do other things. We look good in a conformation ring.
They look great,
but we will not perform in deep water.
Right.
We will not take your commands, and we don't want to sit.
Yeah.
So that, I think, in my opinion, and that's all it is my opinion.
Yeah, that's all we care about for today.
I hope I'm humble enough.
You're totally humble.
Because
no.
I just don't want it to sound like anything other than I think that the dog has to have to perform at this level in hunt tests. It has to have it in their DNA.
I think. Look, I think that carries through into every single sport. The hardness of the dog, genetics of the dog. I had Jeremy Crisco on. We talked about that. Talked to Dave Latham about it. I mean, this is like, there's no doubt in anybody who says, oh, you can train this, and there's certain things I think you can train in a dog. Yeah. But I don't think you can change the genetics of it. Like Jimmy would never hunt. Yeah. I mean, you know, you can put him on a collar and fry him and burn him, all these cruel, stupid things to do, but it ain't going to change the dog. You can't change the genetics of the dog. And I'm just wondering, like, I think that's really good that you're saying this, that you can see how much of this is really in their DNA.
You can.
Right? And then somebody can crush the dog and try to make him do it. And you see these dogs that are just cowering and stuff. And you see it in obedience, you see it in protection, you see it in hunting. And I think it's horrible. I mean, it
breaks their
annoys
spirit.
Yeah, it breaks the dog's spirit. It breaks my spirit to see it. And I think it's terrible. And I think this sport is such a great sport, such a dynamic, good sport that could go so far and really help dogs and help handlers with their dogs if we can kind of get it out there. And that's why I wanted to have you on, because I'm not a hunting guy. Janet's a hunting woman.
Yes.
But she looks good in camo.
Yes. Oh, no, I'm sorry. I didn't say that.
No. My wife looks good in camo. I look good in camo, but you can say yes to that. But the thing is, I mean, I just think people need to understand how cool this sport really is.
It's a very, I liked it. I've always liked it. And I like the people, and I think they're a little maybe misinterpreted.
Yeah. No, I agree. We can talk about that.
Yeah, I think it's worth talking about because, you know, they're not everything you think. And until you meet them, you'll never understand that. And it's one thing that's kept me coming back year after year. I'm not even a hunter.
Yeah.
So how am I judging hunt tests?
Right.
Well, I did hunt at one time.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Bird, big game?
Both.
Okay.
Not big game, no.
Okay.
No, deer and birds.
That's kind of big game.
And, you know, I've been, since I was a teenager.
Okay. Where were you brought up?
Orange County.
Okay, so I would have thought in the South more.
Well, I was born in Los Angeles, but I grew up in Orange County.
Okay.
And then, that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
Pretty boring.
Okay, so let's talk about the people in hunting. I mean, in general, I mean, I'm not a hunter. I could never shoot an animal, but I think people who hunt are really the salt of the earth people. You know, I mean, like I'm the hypocrite. I'll go have a burger, but I can't kill the cow.
Yeah, I'm the same way.
Right? Okay, so we're total hypocrites.
We're total hypocrites.
Yeah. But the person who goes out there and shoots the bird, brings it home, cleans the bird, eats the bird, that's really the cycle of life. Now, the vegans are going to hate me for this, but I don't care. But the truth of the matter is that this is what exists in the world.
That's right.
And that's what I see in these people. Like when I first got out there, people say, oh, they're rednecks or hillbillies or this, that. But you know what? They're salt of the earth people. They're good people. They're hardworking people. They care about their families, and they go to church on Sundays if they're not hunting. But they're good people. So let's talk about those good people, because I like that, and I want to talk more about that.
Well, it's a tough thing in the political climate that we have. I don't either. Yeah. That's the thing is you can't care about that.
Yeah.
Really, I'm either liking this person because they love dogs.
That's it.
Or they don't.
Yeah.
So
100%.
If you don't love dogs and you're some, redneck.
Yeah, I don't like
then
you.
I don't like you.
Yeah, exactly.
Then that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
But if you love dogs,
I love you.
I love you.
Yeah. That's
well, I can get along with you.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's all that matters.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's something that we really need to get away from the political stuff. Like, and I'm not saying one way, Democrat, Republican, everything. I think to be completely void of that and to look at each other as people, to like each other because we're good people, we're trying for good things. And that's kind of what I think just the training of this stuff brings out in the people. It's like this camaraderie. We're talking about stuff. We're together. We're sharing a meal. We're having a little cookout after we train and all that. That's what I'm seeing in it. And that's kind of what I like about it.
Yeah.
You know, that's one of the things, I mean, Janet likes about it too. Janet's totally down to earth with that. Do you see, is it hard for like a city slicker kind of guy to get in there? You know what I mean? Like, you know, those guys,
yes.
Right? It's hard for them, right?
No, it's not.
Like
it's not hard. It's not
pulling
difficult.
up in a BMW or something.
That's all right.
Right.
You can pull up in a BMW. You know, that's the cool thing I think about AKC hunt tests is the perception is so wrong, really. And that has to do maybe with AKC itself.
Okay.
You know, I could say that.
Yeah.
You know, I'm a volunteer.
Oh, I didn't
we
know
don't
that.
work for the AKC.
Oh. Okay.
We carry the title. We go through the testing, but we're not, you know, obligated.
I love it.
And
okay.
I won't speak for, you know, the AKC ever or wear their logos, but I do judge their tests officially.
Okay.
What were we saying?
Well, we were talking about how, and I was kidding about the city slicker thing. I actually think it's kind of good for people who are city slickers, right? And I mean, look, I live in a city. I mean, I was raised in the South and stuff, but I lived in the city my whole life. It's kind of good culturally for us to see other things.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up because actually I like the diversity of it.
That's the word I was looking for.
And
yeah.
it's a good word.
Yeah.
And it needs to be diverse.
For sure.
Absolutely needs it. It's been embraced by everybody. Once you go out there and you show that you love dogs, that's all that really matters. Yeah. When you're at a hunt test, that's all people want to talk about.
Right.
And so it doesn't matter if you're from this part of the country or that part of the country, you know, whether it's rural or city. Right. You know, it really comes down to, you know, the subject, which is, you know, at hand, dogs.
Yeah, and you really have access to this stuff, like these hunt tests, within an hour or two of any major city, wouldn't you think?
Pretty much every one I've been to is really close to a major city or close enough.
Yeah, I mean, it's within an hour and a half of Los Angeles. We go down and train there, and that's as rural and cool as it is. Yeah. So, I mean, I think that's really good. And again, if you really love the dog and you have, like a Labrador's probably the first or second or third most popular dog in the country for 10, 15 years running.
Right. And yeah, the dogs are out there are a lot of Labradors, not all Labs.
No, that's true. So there's
Goldens,
Chessies. Yeah, Chessies. Yeah.
Poodles.
Yeah, poodles. I've seen poodles. It's always funny when I see a poodle out there.
They're kind of funny because they tend to prance across the, I don't know if you see them, they tiptoe into the water. Now, why is that?
I don't know.
There's something about in their genetics that they like and they'll do it, but I don't know. I have to look into that. But it's kind of funny. Yeah, the style's a little odd, so they don't get high points there. But they do perform. Yeah. Well, it's a German breed, right? The poodle is originally a German breed, I think, right? I don't know. We'll have to look that up. Put that on the camera. No, I think it is. And is it a German breed, Janet? Janet, look it up on the phone. You have your phone. Janet's the smartest woman I know. When Janet and I dated 20 years ago, we used to sit around and this was back when I had paper. And she would we'd go through the dictionary. She goes, let's play this game. And she'd say, and she'd pick a word. She said, the definition of like something simple like eating. And I'm like, I don't know. Like you eat. She goes, no. And the most complicated word I could find, boom, she could just define it. She's really smart. So now we got to find out where the poodle's from. But no, I think the difference in the way different dogs work, you know, I mean, Labs I just see as being these fireballs that are just on the job to do it. Some of them. But some not, right? Well, yeah, because you have the American Field Lab and then you have the English Lab. Right. Okay, so let's talk about the difference between those two, because I thought you were going to go with the show line and the Field Lab. Well, it's kind of the same. A lot of the show line, at least in my opinion. Okay. I preface everything with, I know you don't in my opinion. It's your show, so it's like it's only going to be your opinion. Yeah. I guess it's only my opinion. Yeah, it's only your opinion. It's the show line is made up a lot of English style labs. Oh, really? English breeds, right? They're the lab, right? But they're specifically bred with the shorter legs, much stockier, the larger head. You know, the other aspects of them, and they have that otter tail, you know, that specific otter tail. Yeah. Well, that's, you know, what the English loved. Yeah. was when they saw the Portuguese, dog. They said, "Oh, the otter tail." They really like that otter tail. So the English have retained that as their standard for the lab. But then the Americans came in and said, "Oh, well, we like the lab too." So in the early 1900s, the AKC, made it of the U.S. made it a purebred,
recognized breed.
Recognized, yes, breed. And but what happened? It seems to me that it kind of evolved away from requiring that standard of the otter tail, and then going with a thinner, sometimes taller dog that doesn't really have the same characteristics as the English lab.
But that's interesting, because I always see, when I think of American labs, and correct me if I'm wrong, I always see a heavier set. If I go to an AKC show, and I've shown Goofy in AKC shows in conformation, I always see these really thick, powerful, low-slung dogs, and I always think those are the American dog. No.
Okay, so maybe you're right. I know from what I've researched that it's the English standard.
Okay, got it.
Okay, the English standard is the otter tail, the bigger head, the more mid-sized body with the short legs. Yeah. And my understanding, again, someone could comment on this if they like, but my understanding, the American field dog,
that's different.
I think is different. Maybe we're confusing things a little bit.
I think so too. Now I think we're coming to a conclusion here.
Yeah, I think it's the field dog that is the taller, leaner.
Correct. That's what I agree with. That's what I see too.
Sometimes minus the otter tail.
Yeah, they have that big long tail.
Maybe a little different looking tail. Yeah.
Dave Latham commented about the tail. I'm not going to
You mean the kind of has a shape to it?
He called it a gay tail.
Yes.
Yeah. So, but that's a technical term. That's not anything. But Duane's tail is a little bit not perfect.
Okay.
Janet is very disappointed in the tail a little bit. I mean, she loves Duane more than life, but no, he doesn't have a perfect tail, honey. I'm sorry, he doesn't. But Jimmy has a perfect otter tail.
Well, we don't really care, whatever comes up to the line.
Shallow.
But what we see a lot of times are American field dogs.
So, and those are the ones that are more like tall.
I think I have to call them just leaner.
Yeah.
I don't know other put it. Then you have a hybrid. So you have a dog that has this beautiful otter tail, but it doesn't have the head of an English.
Right, like a snipe ear kind of head.
It's got a thinner, longer head. But we kind of gravitate towards that, looking at temperament first.
And I think that's an important thing, because a lab is just, like I said, people say, what kind of dog should I get? I've got a family, I've got kids or whatever. Yeah. My number one thing is God, get a golden retriever or get a Labrador, because they're just, for the most part, well-bred labs are pretty bulletproof dogs.
Absolutely.
Right? Where a Cane Corso or an Airedale Terrier.
No.
It's a dog I really
I wouldn't even know what to do with a dog like that.
Oh, they're a lot of work. I mean, I've got one that's two that are a lot of work, but they actually work out. Did we find out where is it German?
Oh, yeah, they were developed in Germany for waterfowl.
Okay.
They're also known in France, but France used them as circus dogs.
Oh, well, that's typical. French have to screw it up, right?
And that's according to Wikipedia.
Okay, Wikipedia is never wrong. Wikipedia and Snopes are my number one places I go to for information. All right, so it's a German. We know it's evolved. I knew it evolved in German because Janet and I talked about it, and Janet knew it. Now she's acting all humble over there, but it really did. It started there. But all right, so let's go back to the thing of judging. Right? So you got into it. Did you take your dog through like a certain level and then go, God, I love this. I just love this thing. And then you wanted to give back, right?
Exactly what happened. We wanted to give back. We and Janie too. She got involved in judging also early on, and then it wasn't really for her, but it became my go-to thing. This is what I want to do. So I was handling a dog. And having a heck of a time with it, and then I slowly and surely got better and better and better to a point where it says, you know what, I could probably judge hunt tests. And I was asked by Labrador Club if I'd like to judge a hunt test, and I said absolutely, I'll try it So I apprenticed.
Okay.
And that was 15 years ago. And then I just never looked back. And, you know, once you're involved, you're kind of, you know, and you're qualified, you know, you got to go through a lot of testing, and you got to keep qualified, you know, every year.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, if you're decent at it, then you get asked to judge. And
right.
It's its own thing. It's kind of like a good handler, a good dog handler.
Yeah.
You know, they're good at that. And I've become pretty good at it. Really is just the art of observing.
Right.
You know, if you're good at observing and looking, watching, then you'll be good at it. You know, it's a learned experience.
Right. Looking at yourself as a competitor, and then you moved over and became a judge, what advice would you give back to yourself as a handler that you learned by being a judge? Right? Because that's a
good question.
I know, that's really good.
I've never heard that question. Actually, I would say you gotta calm down.
Okay, just chill.
You gotta chill. If you don't, you're going to release all that energy into your dog. And I know there's some trainers, and I've spoken to them, specifically field trial people like Mike Lardy at that level. When I asked him one time, when I interviewed him, I asked him about, you know, do your nerves, like riding a horse, do they transfer into the animal? Do they sense that nervousness? He said he didn't think so, but he said maybe. But from watching enough hunt tests as a judge, I can guarantee you it does.
Yeah.
So, and the number one issue is nerves and lack of confidence, because anyone can do this, but it's gonna, you gotta be calm. Yeah. And the calmer you are, if you have a calm personality, the better you're gonna be.
Yeah. I mean, I agree. I think with everything I've seen in training that the nerves of the person always channels down to the dog. I mean, always. And this is from everything from protection to dealing with severely aggressive dogs. If you're nervous with a dog, that dog senses that, and whether you're holding a leash or you're next to them, that's just their thing. They pick up on energy, they pick up on all that. So, I mean, I think you're right. So if someone comes to the line, because if the proverbial shit's going to hit the fan, it's going to hit the fan whether you're nervous or not. Yeah. Right? If you're calm, you're going to look a lot better doing it. I was really calm. Remember when I handled Duane? I didn't care, because that wasn't my title. It was Janet's dog. And I thought, okay, she's done all the training. You know, this is going to be a nice, easy, fun experience. I went up. It was. But
you also come from a martial arts background and Zen and all that belief and all that. So you probably have a personality that's conducive to it.
Yeah, if nobody's swinging at me or nobody's shooting at me, then I feel pretty confident.
I'm not jumpy, but I have a tendency to be. I'm very energetic at times, and I react real quickly, and it can be the wrong thing with a Labrador on the line under stress, right? In a stressful situation, because you just add to the stress of the moment.
Well, one of the things I've always seen, even with Duane going to the line, if he's on a leash, he's pulling. If you drop the leash, and he just goes, "Oh,
it's exactly."
He comes back,
and we see a lot of handlers do exactly that, especially the junior handlers. They grab the leash, and it's, let's say, a 4-foot leash, and they'll grab it at the end, the very end, right? And so the dog has 4 feet to move around, right? And so what I have to do is I kind of stop and I say, you know, I can do this as a judge, right? We have like all power. Wow, that's cool. So, you know, I do kind of help them a little bit. And what I want to do, especially a junior dog, is I try to tell them, look, your dog is pulling you to the line. It's exactly what we don't want to see. So maybe if you just reach down 2 feet further towards the dog's head, you're going to get better control on your dogs. And sure enough, it works. And sure enough, they normally say, thank you.
And they'll pass.
And they'll pass.
I mean, that's a really nice thing, because the other things and everything from protection to obedience, I've never had a judge give me a piece of advice.
Really?
No, never. They never.
Well,
did.
I asked one time, you know, because we don't have all the answers. We make mistakes. We're only human, you know. Right. But I asked the AKC, you know, and I've read enough about it, you know, how much advice can we give? Yeah. You know, should we even give advice on the line when the person's entering the hunt test? And I think there's that fine line, and it's that gray area where you don't want to point out where the bird went down or the bumper is or you know, that, and you don't want to touch the, you know, the dog or, you know, but you have to be somewhat their companion a bit. You got to hold hands a little bit because you've got to make them feel comfortable. And that's, you know, I think it's a good thing because people then walk away with something that, you know, maybe a little bit of advice.
Yeah. Well, you know, I think one of the things, I mean, with younger kids are so inactive now, right? They're all playing games on the computer and doing this stuff. There's no more fit. I mean, I was outside in Jersey, you know, playing stickball, and it was a broomstick and a ball that we stole. I mean, that's all we had. We didn't have, you know, anything fancy. But, you know, we were active. We were outside. Your mom would call you in after school, and you go to dinner, whatever. But kids now aren't. And the reason I'm saying this is because I think if you take sports, especially dog sports, because that's so good for kids to be around animals, this whole bond. And if organizations like the AKC gives you this little permission, and you can help somebody learn the sport, and you make it friendly, and you make it a positive experience, more kids are going to want to do this. And that's where we're losing it. I mean, everybody that's out there is as old as me or older, right? And that's sad, right? I mean, well,
but it's a bit sad, but it's good too. Yeah. I mean, it's good. Yeah. But you're right. You know, I wrote a little piece of a blog that I have, and I wrote about kids, young kids in hunt test and what makes them so good.
Tell me, because I want to hear
Well, it's exactly what you said. It's this attitude of, you know, I don't take anything so seriously. Yeah. Where adults, especially older adults, as we get older, everything bugs us. You know, the dog pulled me this way. Oh, I've got to overreact. You know, I've got to do this. Where a kid just says, pulls the dog back. Yeah. Or just doesn't take the winning or losing of it that seriously. And I think that's what makes a really good handler. Yeah. Again, it's the attitude. And the kids have the best attitude, really, when they come up to the line. They're not looking for anything for a little bit. They're in the moment. They're having fun, and that's all they care about. And everything else is immaterial. Yes. And we're, you know, adults, maybe with our experiences and everything like that and our responsibilities, we're putting everything on our shoulders and saying, oh, we got to get through this. Oh, you got to pick up. Come on, Fluffy, pick up that. Right. And you're just so stressed about it that you're already worn out before the dog even left. So then now the dog's worn out. Yeah. Where kids just, oh, well, go. You know, they'll just drop the leash and, you know, the dog takes off and they just look and it's like, it's not even a big deal.
That's beautiful.
Which is beautiful. Yeah.
How much of your judging is based on if you just can't stand the guy, like, you know, the guy just comes up and cocky and like, he's just a jerk. Like, do you ever just fail something because they're jerks? I mean, like if you had the discretion, well, the guy's on the
we do have the discretion.
You do. Right. This
well, not if they come in with a bad attitude, we can tell them.
You can.
Absolutely.
Oh, okay.
We have a code of conduct's mission as well as everything else that we have to do. So we have had those situations where, and I've experienced it, where someone's come in to my hunt test that I set up and had an attitude. And I didn't like this. Why are you doing that? Never, ever say that to a judge. Never. Oh. There's a lot the judge can do, including excluding you from the premises and basically telling you to pack up your dog and we'll see you later. Or the AKC can come down harder and suspend you from hunt tests. Wow.
And what would be a reason for that? Like what would cause you to have somebody leave the premises or possibly get suspended from hunt tests?
It depends on, I have a pretty easygoing personality, but if another judge, you know, could take it as far as they wanted, like I said, including having the person excluded from the grounds and basically disqualified. Right. I've had experiences where people have questioned whether I set that mark up right or whether there was enough angle between the two marks in a senior, you know, or whether that is too much water. And typically, because of my personality, I'm just going to go up to them and I say, you know, I'm going to explain the rules. First, you never talk to a judge, period. Just acknowledge that they're there and say thank you. Don't carry on a conversation with them. They're really not your friend. They may help you, but they're there to observe you and either pass or fail you. That's all they're there for.
Yeah.
And so I've had experiences where I've had to explain to people rules, and that's about it. You know, we've had some where it's gone beyond that to a committee where we've had people that acted aggressive towards their dogs when they wouldn't release the bird or something like that, and we've had to, you know, set them down and have been disqualified for it.
Good.
But
I mean, that's a really big piece. Is the humaneness of how you're going to treat the animal? I mean, isn't that a big piece of?
Well, it has to be. Yeah, they have to show respect to the dog. You know, that the dog is really the star of the show. Yeah. So the handlers there did just kind of maintain and and watch their. It's the dogs that's the star, and so that dog, you know, there's no fine line. If there's any misconduct or anything that we deem is cruelty at all, it won't be tolerated. There's no judge that will ever tolerate any mistreatment of any dog at any time.
Yeah. Yeah. So that really goes, I mean, I would think for the most part, wouldn't that be the dog not releasing the bird?
That's one aspect. People get kind of freaked out when their dog doesn't sit, especially on a mark where you have a multiple mark. So you have one mark going off to the left, one going to the right, and the dog's a high drive dog, and the dog starts to get up, and the dog starts to creep, and people can intimidate. And they can intimidate, they think they're clever, but the thing is we're watching them. Yeah. We're watching them. We've already determined before we judge, between the judges anyway, I do, is I like to talk with the other judge and say, look, I'm going to watch the handler and you're going to watch the dog, okay? Or vice versa. Right. So one of us has eyes on you the whole time. So if there's any intimidation could mean anything but leaning over the dog and getting where the boot just accidentally scrubs on the dog. You know, sometimes it's very minor. It's not, you know, anything cruel, but we take every little bit of intimidation seriously, and those are major faults. So those means you can be disqualified. You can be given a 0 for that. Yeah. And eliminated.
Do they think you haven't seen it? Like, do they think, oh, he's not going to see, I'm going to just kick him with my...
The ones with the really good...
Right. Like,
well, yeah, or they think they know you, or they're friends with you, that we're going to turn away and say, oh, no, you know, he's a good guy, but he's really funny, you know? Yeah. But no. Yeah. I failed my best friends. I mean, I failed you, right?
Yeah, once.
Yeah. So I failed other people that I know, and they always remind me of it. But it's just a job, and you know, someone's got to do it
for sure.
And we need judges out there, and you have to be really impartial, and you have any bias whatsoever, because after all, it's all about the dog.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's an important piece. When you said you failed your best friend, you said something important before. You're not there at that moment. You're not their friend, right? At that moment, you're a judge. You're kind of there to say, okay, this is good, this is not good, this is an A, this is a B, this is a C. It's not about being their friend.
Well, we've got a job, and understand that even though I'm not paid by the AKC or I'm not wearing the AKC logo, I'm still representing them. Yeah. And I have to represent them the best way I can in the most responsible, respectful way. Right. And that means I had to follow whatever they lay out. Sure. That their little checklist, which is quite thick, you know, I have to make sure I go through it, that I do it the way they would like it done. And it's, you know, we're testing the standard of the breed. Yeah. And they have specific, you know, standards.
Yeah, for sure.
And those standards change all the time, you know.
So I got a question that's kind of like a two-part question. One is, you're a hunter. My friend Jeremy's a hunter. Dave's a hunter. I mean, these people all hunt. How similar? Because I know a guy at the club who hunts. He's a real hunter. He hunts ducks, but he can't get his dog to pass because of a certain flaw, which wouldn't affect him in the hunting, in the actual hunting, but it does affect him in the trials. How close is being a hunter, shooting birds and having the dog retrieve them, to passing an AKC, let's say in the junior hunt test?
I don't see, they're similar, but that's all we have to be is similar. So a hunt test, AKC rules, is similar, make it similar to a hunting scenario.
Right.
That's all it has to be.
Okay.
So it just has to be a waterfowl hunting scenario.
Right.
But I don't see any similarity with it, because the only real similar thing is you want your dog to sit when you're hunting,
right,
and then go retrieve when you shoot, right?
Right.
But no one's there judging the way that you take a line, right?
Right.
So the dog could be doing a Z pattern to get the bird, you know, that's point A to point B.
Right.
But in a hunt test, we're looking at that pattern.
Yeah.
And we're looking at the way they sit and, you know, every other mannerism of the animal.
And there's also that delivery to hand issue, right?
The delivery to hand. A lot of times, you know, the dog will come in. To deliver, and they might just drop when you're hunting, just drop the bird.
Fine.
And no one cares.
Yeah.
Oh, he brought it back.
Yeah, got it over there.
He got it there. You know, I had to bend down to get it, but no big deal.
Yeah.
But in a hunt test, no, can't happen.
Yeah.
He's got to deliver to hand. It's got to be done, you know, quickly and efficiently.
Yeah.
And so in that way, they're not similar.
Yeah. I think they're not.
No,
I mean, I think this
not.
is a hunt. I mean, do you think that a dog that can, let's look at the opposite. Let's look at a dog that does really well on a hunt test. You think that dog can hunt?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So
absolutely. That's why the hunt tests are established to begin with.
Right.
In the 80s, they were established to create a finished gun dog.
Okay.
So absolutely. Any dog that's competing in the senior to master level, especially the master level, they'll make an awesome waterfowl hunting dog.
But on the flip side, a dog that can hunt might not pass a hunt test, right?
Might not ever pass a hunt test because they don't have the obedience. They don't have the
control.
The control, the control especially. You know, that
makes sense. All right, and then the other part of this I have is now I've had people come to me and ask this question because they want to go out and they want to be a part of this this fun thing, because out in training you're launching bumpers, you're shooting these. It's like I love gadgets, right? Like I want to get all the launchers and I
wish I had a couple.
Well, we have one. We have one of those, the boom gun that shoots. The thing
the handheld thing
looks like a penis, right? The white thing.
I would know about
It's in your video.
What?
Of course you do. I'm going to show the video right here. But it's so much fun.
Right.
Like it's this big field and your dog's running crazy. So I've had people email me. They said, if I wanted to do that and experience that, could I go through a trial? Is there ever trials that the AKC ordains where there's no live birds?
Well, wait. Well, what's your question?
So I'm a person who loves my dog and I want to do this training.
But you don't like live birds.
But I don't want to see a bird get shot. Do they have that? Like
move to Canada.
Canada, right? Canada doesn't do it. But don't they have like you know in
No, I'm serious. Canada AKC.
Oh, the Canadian AKC?
Yeah, Canadian AKC.
So there's no birds.
Well, it's not called the Canadian AKC, but it's their equivalent of it. It's the same.
Oh, okay. I got you.
They don't use live birds.
They don't?
No.
Okay, but what I wonder is have they ever talked about in the 15 years you've been there, where they say, let's do it like a preferred title, like in obedience, like, oh, the dog can jump lower, and you're just going to get a bumper. You're going to get like a junior hunter vegan or some crazy thing.
Okay, so it started for hunters. So to get away from that, the problem is what happens when that handler does go hunting and the dog's looking for a bird out, you know, that the hunter just shot, and he doesn't bring anything back because you've been entering hunt tests with all bumpers.
Yeah, and he's looking
for the bumper, going, "Where's the bumper? Where's the bumper?" And it's a bird.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that's why. Now you have SRS, which is Super Retriever series, which uses dokens. So they don't use live birds. They don't use dead birds.
Okay.
They use dokens, and they do. Oh my God! You know these dogs are running 300 yards, you know, over deadfall and stuff to get a doken. It's not even a live bird. Isn't a shot bird.
Yeah.
But the dogs are trained for that. So you're probably not going to take that same dog and hunt with it necessarily because, you know, they're creatures of habit. Right. So if they're picking up bumpers, and all of a sudden you want to go hunting with it, then, you know, you might not be as successful, or maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, I wonder about that.
You never know.
It's an interesting idea. You might bring it up to them and say, you know, they should have the junior, senior, master hunter and just have some kind of like, maybe call it something different, like a junior plastic hunter, a junior Doken hunter. You know what I mean? Because I think that would bring a lot of people into the sport.
Well, it might bring more people that are not familiar with hunting into it, which would, in my opinion, might be a really good idea.
I do.
To some degree.
I mean, you'd have to separate it, right? You've got to break it apart. You got to say, okay, this is a true hunt test.
Right.
And I think it's important. I think people should be, I mean, God forbid they ban this stuff, right? Like they're saying, oh, we're not going to do this, we're going to do that. But I think there's another way for the AKC to bring people in who say, hey, there's more money here. There's more helping people with their dogs and all that stuff. It's just an idea. I mean, you've been there 15 years. Might be an idea.
Yeah, you could certainly write them.
I will. I'm going to get their address. I'm going to bring it. I just think it's a good, I thought about that when this person emailed me, and I thought, well, God, you could get so many, but the club memberships go up, dues will go up. The AKC makes money on all the hunt tests, right? I mean, every time I pay $60, a percentage of that goes to the AKC, right?
Yes.
Okay, so I think it's good.
Most of the money goes to the clubs that really need it. But yeah, the clubs have to pay the AKC to put on the hunt test.
Right, and then you get your titles. Like we get these Janet's got these really cool certificates with Duane.
Yeah, the ribbons and titles.
And the hunt test ribbons are so nice.
They're really nice.
I mean, the obedience ones suck.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like a bookmark. It's like a piece of ribbon that your mom cut, and you're like, what? I spent all this time getting the dog to do like this perfect front, this perfect sit, and I get this crappy piece of crap ribbon. But the AKC, they've got what do they call that? The rosette.
Rosette.
I love those rosettes.
Yeah. And then you get a little bird tag too.
You get the bird tag.
Yeah, that you put on your lanyard.
But we did it.
Yeah.
I put Janet's on the lanyard.
Yeah.
Because she got 4.
And they get better as you go through junior and senior into master, then they become, you know, larger and more substantial. Yeah. It's kind of like the Super Bowl rings.
I peeked in your car. You got a lot of them.
Yeah, I have quite a few.
A lot of them.
Yeah.
And you still like doing it? You still doing it?
I do. I don't you know, I don't have a dog that I can handle right now, but my wife is handling our youngest lab through master now. So she has a few more passes to go and to get through master, but I'm going to be back in the game soon. So right now I'm kind of like the teacher, you know. I'm not the person doing it. I'm the person that's teaching.
So are you teaching her?
No, I don't need to teach her, but I'm pretty much you know, just judging, which is kind of, you know, it's interesting at times to judge, but then there's times you say, I really wish I was out there.
Yeah.
It's like the ref, you know, a baseball you know, game that's probably somewhere in the back of his head's going, I wish I was pitching, or I wish I was that guy in first base. You know, I don't want to be this guy behind the mound. This really sucks.
And it's fun to do with your own dog too, right? Like I always say that.
It's way fun.
I miss it. Like so now my dogs are older. Janet's kind of got Duane, and she's doing all this stuff. But
she's like a good handler.
She's a really nice handler.
She's gotten really good.
Yeah. But the thing I miss is like I miss having a puppy and developing that stuff and doing. And I want to get a puppy at some time soon. But it's like. Right now, I've got 2 older dogs, and so I've kind of like said, okay, until we do that, we're not gonna do that. But at some point, I'm going to. So, what are you going to do? Are you going to get another puppy?
We'll end up getting another puppy, and then I'll take it hopefully through masters then again. Okay. So you know, it took a long time the first time. I wish it didn't, but everything that we didn't know, we unfortunately made the dog worse and worse and worse until we realized that, you know, this poor dog, you know, we've been telling it to do one thing when we wanted it to do another, and we didn't know. So, you know, we learn. And
what would you say is, because I like when somebody says, especially somebody like you with your expertise, that you taught the dog wrong or whatever. What would be the number one thing that you would say that you would change, or the mistakes you made that you wish you hadn't made, or how would you do it differently if you could start over again?
Okay, so it's going to come down to one thing. It's nipping the problem in the bud. Is that the same?
Yeah, bud. It's not butt, it's bud.
Oh, did I say bud?
No, you did not. But most people say nip it in the butt, and it's not nipping in the butt.
It's bud.
It's bud. But I think dog people say butt because they think the dog is nipping you in the butt.
Oh,
but yeah,
I guess they're both kind of
nipping it in the bud, which is I think a terminology to flowers.
Like a pruning thing.
Yeah, like a pruning.
Yeah. So you have to stop the behavior immediately. You can't wait.
Okay.
You can't let it go on because they're a creature of habit. They're just going to go, oh, I did that and I got this.
Like what kind of behavior would you point to?
So be obedience, obviously. Okay. Sitting.
Okay.
I think the worst problem that we had getting through an AKC master hunt test with Jetta, we had her breaking, which is meaning she took off from the line whenever she wanted to. So there goes the birds, they go down, and she goes, oh, I think I'm going to leave now. See you later.
Right.
And I'm like, what do you mean, see you later? And then she was halfway across the field.
Right.
And when I realized you can't, this dog, just doing whatever she wants. So it took a year, had to pull her out of the season for a year, and to get her back into understanding that you had to sit. And you can't leave the line until I release you. Right. But, we weren't doing that early. So it caused that problem because of our own inability to. So
in a trial, the judge wouldn't say dog and she would already be gone.
That's correct.
She saw the bird fall, the bumper for whatever fall.
And she was out of here. As soon as she saw the bird in the air, and she didn't even need to see it fall, she was completely gone. I chased her one time. Yes.
Oh, that's fine.
In a test. I chased her one time. I didn't even think about it, but I went and I chased her and people applauded because I got the bird before she did. I don't know how, don't ask. It was downhill. But I got the bird before she did. Funny. And they said that's exactly what you should do. In
a trial?
Anytime you don't want the dog to learn that, hey, I got away with it. Don't let the dog get away with it. And if you take whatever, if I wouldn't have chased it down and she would have got that bird, then she would have been rewarded, right?
I agree.
That's the reward that she was looking for. She was looking for the bird. So the moment that I snatched it away from her, a miracle run, it took that reward away.
Yep.
And now she's going, oh, shit.
Yeah.
I'm not going to do that because then I don't get that.
Right.
Right. So I took it away, and it was kind of funny.
So in that trial, right? Okay, it's obviously a landmark, right?
It was a landmark. Yep.
But you got disqualified?
I did.
Okay. But
I was immediately gone.
But
I already knew I was gone.
Right.
I just remembered somewhere in the back of my mind, someone had told me, don't ever let the dog get, if that ever happens to you. And I just took off running. And, I probably ran 100 yards.
Wow. Faster than the dog.
Faster than the dog.
It's crazy.
I don't even know. And it wasn't that I necessarily beat the dog. It's that I knew exactly where it was. And Jetta didn't. She thought it was maybe over here to the left. And I think I just pinned it.
Yeah.
And I was able to grab it. But it was also downhill, like I said, with the wind at my back.
Yeah, you're a good marker.
I'm a very good marker. Yeah.
But I would agree with you. I mean, that's a really good, I always say that, the more times the dog succeeds in doing the wrong thing, the more the dog learns that that's what I should be doing. And just whether they want to do it or not, it's just that's what they're doing, right?
And that's exactly the lessons that I learned with our first dog is that, you really got to nip it. And if you don't do it, you're just going to ingrain that habit into the dog. It's going to take a long time to break them of that bad habit.
Have you ever seen anybody do that? Like when you were judging?
A run for the...
You get the bird before their dog got it?
I think I did one time. I think one guy did chase down the dog. And I've seen people yell at... I've seen them. I've heard them, really... Get back here, yelling, really angry. But for a dog like that, a high strung, working dog like that, they're going to go, no way, middle finger and
right.
I'm gone.
For sure.
You're not going to get that dog back.
Right. But if they did that, if that was you don't call dog, the dog out, and they call the dog back, hey, get back here, and the dog does come back, they disqualify.
Well, it depends. Now, there is what's called a controlled break. So we could say that we set from the line of where you release the dog, okay? That's your line. So we say, okay, your line, you're going to release a dog on spot A. Right. And you're going to run to spot B to get the dog, right?
Right.
to get the bird. So we can say 15 or 20 feet away from the line. If your dog breaks, but you can stop it before you cross that threshold, that 20-foot threshold, let's say, and you can get the dog to come back, that's a controlled break, and you're allowed to have those.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So if I call the dog back and he comes back...
Well, in some stakes.
Oh, God. Okay.
If you do it in a master, you could be in big trouble.
Okay.
But not necessarily. Again, the judges have a lot of discretion.
Right.
And they can interpret rules
right.
a little bit. There's gray area there.
Wow, I didn't know. That's really good. That's good information.
But a break is beyond that, where the dog just keeps going.
Too late.
And by that time, you're zeroed out.
Yeah. So in one last question I've got for you, and this is, a lot of people are, proponents or complete against e-collar training. Yeah. What's your take? I mean, I'm for it. I like it.
Well, okay. So the problem is people think it's electricity. Okay. And that's the biggest problem. And then you have the consumers that go to Petco, wherever, and they buy one for their backyard dog and they fry it. I
hate that.
So, because in fry, I mean, I've put them on myself many times actually, because I want to put it on, turn it up. Yeah. Because I want to feel what it's like. And it reminds me of a carnival thing. What was it called? You'd grab two handles. You know what I mean?
I do. And how long you could hold on.
How long you could hold on to those. And everyone wanted until your veins start popping out of your body. Right. And that's what it feels like. It's more of a vibration than it's anything. So I think they work for people that understand how they work and how they're supposed to work, because they're not a punishment tool.
They can be, though. They can be abused.
They can be abused and used wrong, and I have a problem with that.
I do too.
And there's certain companies that are not selling them any longer. But I think we moved. Myself, I prefer attrition training, which is just repeated training to a certain skill that you're trying to teach the dog, rather than putting too much pressure on them. But that's my own opinion. Used right, they're extremely helpful, and they can really, and sometimes you absolutely need them.
Yeah, I mean, there's sometimes where you have these situations where, especially a dog at a distance, you just can't get to them.
Well, like clicker training, which is another great thing if you're in close.
Used properly.
But it's used properly. You can even do it with field dogs or working dogs. Problem is, what happens when it's 50 yards away? Right. That clicker, you can't hear it.
Can't hear it, yeah.
So it doesn't do any good. So what else can you do? You have to have some control over the dog when it's a football field away.
Right. And you're dealing with that. You're dealing with dogs that are so far away that there's no way to control them. And again, it's a matter of, abuse or not abuse. And
the dogs are wearing it. And look, I've done this long enough where I know that, how much it's used. And I've watched all sorts of people use them. And I'm telling you, the professionals, the ones that are out there that are serious about this, they're not even using them. They're more of an intimidation. You put a collar on a dog, and it could be any collar, and they think it's an e-collar. Right. And the dog will just, all of a sudden, it just, changes its attitude.
Yeah, for sure.
But it's, the ones that are using them incorrectly are probably causing most of the stigma with them.
Sure. Well, that's what happens now. I mean, I've seen pictures on the internet where they'll show a dog with a prong collar embedded in his neck, and they say, well, the prong collar is evil. Well, I think it just really goes down to stupidity. Whether it's e-collar, prong collar, chain. I mean, you can use, I saw pictures of dogs with rubber bands embedded in their skin because people put rubber bands on them to keep them from barking. That's cruel. Yep. I mean, you have to decide what's cool. I just always like to get opinions of professional people because there's such a stigma around training tools, and it should be really around the methodology as opposed to the tool.
I think so, and I think we're going that way. I think it's going that way. Yeah, the technology's changed. If you look at it back, what, 20, 30 years ago or something like
15
that?
15 years ago.
Or 15 years ago. It was like barbaric.
Yeah, they were horrible.
Kidding me? Yeah. So now this has changed. The technology has gotten better, and I think people have a better understanding that, repeated training for a specific skill that you're trying to teach the dog something, is paramount over, putting pressure on the dog.
Yeah, any kind of pressure I think can be really negative on the dog.
Yeah.
Spatial pressure, physical pressure, or anything like that. I hope that somehow more people can get involved in this stuff, because I think their dogs would just love it. And maybe that idea, maybe I'm going to write a letter to the AKC.
Yeah, akc.org.
Okay, I'm going to.
I would go there, because anyone wants to learn about them, go to akc.org. Yeah. And really, you should come out and watch one.
Yeah.
And before you make your opinion, make an opinion on yes or no, is it's for you or not for you.
Yeah.
Come and watch a hunt test. They're all over the country.
Yeah. So how could people could people go to akc.org and find out when there's going to be a hunt test coming up?
Entry Express is an organization that actually sanctions that they govern it.
Okay.
It's sanctioned by the AKC, but Entry Express, I think it's .com.
Okay, well, they can Google it.
They can Google it, and they can find out where Hunt Test is in their area, and they're all over, the country.
And people can just come in their car, have like a little.
They can just come with their car. They can have a tailgate party. They can watch and and learn, and you bring your kids, and you bring some lawn chairs and something to drink and an umbrella, and you can it's absolutely free unless there's an entry fee for the park that you train in. Sometimes there's entry fees, but
what a great way to spend the day.
It's a great way, and you'll see what I mean by the people. They're real welcoming, and
for sure
they want people to attend. They're not. It's a sport that is not has a large attendance. The people that are there are normally the hunters.
It's a participant
or the
sport,
handlers. I'm sorry, the handlers. So it's a participant sport. Right. You have some spectators, but it's not. It is a spectator sport, though. It really is. It's just like watching football or baseball or something,
sure.
because you have these dogs doing these amazing things and right in front of you.
Yeah.
And you can go and talk to the owners and find out about the dog, and just leave your dog at home.
Yeah,
don't
that's
bring
a good message. Yeah, leave your dog at home.
Yeah,
don't bring your dog. Good. All right. Well, great. I mean, this was a really good chat. You're going to come back. I know it's a long drive for you. I appreciate you made the drive.
Yeah,
I just always have people in front of me. It's over the phone with Skype, and I do it for people who are overseas, but usually it's just not as fun.
Right.
It's not as fun. It's just to be able to sit here. And
it's been a lot of fun, actually.
Right. Good.
I enjoyed it.
Good.
Good. I had this big, thing of, reference. I didn't even look at it.
You didn't even need it. You were just, this was a Larry show.
Yeah, this is my show.
This is your show. If they want to find out more about Hunt Test, akc.org or Entry Express, where they can find out where there is a test. Do you have a channel? Do you have anything that we can?
Well, I have my own. I have LarrySaavedra.com.
Okay.
I do have a YouTube channel.
Okay, we'll put the links in the description.
You can put them in the thing. You can check it out, and
good.
Yeah, and thanks a lot.
And maybe sometime somebody will be showing under you.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Don't talk to
I don't know.
Don't make friends until after.
All right.
Well, you could fail anyway, even if you're friends.
That's right.
That's a good thing about you. All right, good. All
Thanks
right.
a lot.
Thank you so much.